Hello, we are Geeks Assembled. We've gathered here once again today and tonight. We are going to be talking about episode 1, series 1 of Starsky and Hutch. And I'm not quite sure who chose this one. Apparently it was in the poll. So any member could have voted. But let's go to Stephen Price. See what he made of this since he watched it this afternoon.
Well, what I made of it is I was watching episode 1 and I told messaged Lee, and he said, hang about, you're watching episode 1 of season 2. So he's watching the wrong one.
Oh, you're worse than Brian.
No. I typed it in on YouTube. So I thought, I was watching episode 1, innit?
Oh, you're going to blame YouTube now?
No, I'm not blaming YouTube. So luckily told me, so I watched. I was enjoying it anyway, so I watched the rest, and I put on the proper one then we're supposed to be reviewing. And yes, what I can remember of it, it was good. Yeah.
What you can remember of it?
I confused with watching the
That's
bloody
not going endorsement.
watching the bloody wrong one. Yeah, I like the part where never mind. I'll tell you later.
How do you get these ones on the side?
Yeah, tell us later. Let's go to Alex and Susan. Well, she just finished.
Okay.
Off with Pringle.
I've again, as you guys know, I'm sort of a TV connoisseur and a bad movie connoisseur, and Starsky and Hutch is right on that line again. It sort of imitates Beretta a little bit, especially with the captain and the cops that they don't get along. But I watched it again. Now, this is the same team that gives you Charlie's Angels and The Love Boat and Vegas, the original Vegas, not the new version. And there's parts that are really good and parts that are really mediocre. And Starsky and Hutch is known for a stereotype of always having a really silly ending, which they did excel at. But I went back on DVD and watched some of the other episodes, and they actually had some really good episodes. They had one where there was a vigilante that they were trying to stop, and they couldn't because he just wouldn't stop, even after they talked to him many times. They had crimes taking place on college campuses. They had women that were trying to kill men and other things that in the 70s was a little bit advanced if you weren't watching, movies in a cinema. So they actually did try. There actually was some very well-written, intellectual. I remember there was one episode that, I almost confused it with Law and Order. It was so topical. I was like, what the heck? So they actually did have, even Charlie's Angels had a couple of good episodes for the production team. And remember, this is the 70s, bad clothes, disco, greasy food. You have tons of commercials and stuff like that. Of course, you didn't have to pay for watching TV per se. But as far as the actual episode, except for the Torino, which I never understood why they drove in that Torino, and the mechanic was very corny as well. So there were corny moments, and they had the trope of the black, we just talked about it, Last Action Hero, the black captain yelling at the cop again. But otherwise, this episode had a lot of good things in it. And just like another movie, Cloak and Dagger, there was the elderly couple that were trying to commit a crime. So there was a lot of little touches, if you think about it, that it wasn't all stereotypical 1970s nonsense or talk and jive. Yes, they had Huggy Bear. Huggy Bear did talk jive quite a bit. But he wasn't a dumb character, actually.
No.
So, there were some things that were actually, pretty smart. And it was ironic, too, where, what was his name? Starsky and Hutch. And Hutch is a Hutchison is his real last name in the show, where he had to call over Starsky to get him get a pencil so he could write down, information. Of course, you wouldn't do that nowadays; just type it into your phone. But it was actually good, and there were other episodes that were very intellectual. Like I said, the stalker, the woman killing men, the crimes that happened on the college campuses, actually very well written. So it's not 100% stereotypical or 100% bad, as the legend, says.
And I got into a high-speed chase in about 1991, and I was in my mind, I was in even though I was driving an Oldsmobile, I was like, it's a Torino. And I was trying to outrun the police. And I know that it was the opposite.
Wait.
I know that Starsky and Hutch was the opposite way, that they were the police. But I just thought that my friend and I were Starsky and Hutch, and I was just like.
Well, what did you do?
Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it does.
No. This does
matter that you take a lot with you when you watch this program. It does become part of your reality.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, I did go that far. I've already been there. I've done that. I've got the T-shirt. Anyway, it's a good show. It's quite enjoyable, and this one I thought was cute because of the old couple and their little white sedan that became a green sedan that became hard for the Los Angeles police to locate, and once again, they were driving in places that are like old stock footage, normal places for car chases and driving things. That over the rise thing where they tried to turn the car and the van, and that was like, that intersection is iconic. That's. If you want an iconic Los Angeles intersection, that would be it. And it's over the rise into the city, or over the rise out of the city. But anyway, somebody's always turning. The car chase always turns on that corner. Maybe it's because it's a corner that the Los Angeles police are willing to shut down. I just don't even know. I mean, it's just. It's like 4-lane highway meeting a 2-lane road. Anyway, it's crazy. It's like in everything. So I like it. It was fun. Anyway, that's my bit.
Let's go over to Lee.
Cool. It's great to know that we have got a criminal in our
I know. Who would have thought it's Susan out of everyone? It's always the quiet ones. I think Alex is reconsidering now who he's with.
Yes.
Who have I hooked up with? What have I got myself into? She's a master criminal. She's going to be in a high pursuit chase by the police for doing a crime she's not willing to tell us. So it must have been pretty serious for her to stay stum on what she did.
Yeah.
I bet she's still hiding.
Right,
I bet her name. Wait, Dad. I bet her name isn't even Susan Backstrom. I bet actually she's gone to live in Boston.
Harry.
She's gone to live in Boston with Alex because she's still on the run. Susan is still on the run.
And her real name.
She is, look, you can tell.
So you don't know, you could be closer.
She's killed her past.
Anyways, back to what I was going to say.
Alex is really worried
Still
now.
in the car boot. this series, what you're going to realise, Starsky Hutch, Starsky Hutch from 1975 to 1979 was one of the most watched TV shows of its time in the UK and in America.
I don't believe that.
It made the careers out of Paul Michael Glaser, David Soul, and Antonia Vegas, is it, who played Huggy Bear? They still get recognised today. The cult status of this programme is unbelievable. Even the car became an iconic figure sort of thing. I mean, I remember when I had the toy car, you know, and people was buying the Starsky Hutch dolls and stuff like that. For a police drama, it is a good. I mean, this is episode 1 of series 1. As Alex says, there is better episodes, better written, but this is a fun episode, and it does what it says on the tin. Yeah, I like it. It's a cult TV show. We don't talk about the movie that was done maybe 8 years ago with Ben Stiller, and that was just awful. And also, I would like to see our host Alec there is trying to become Starsky because he's wearing a cardigan. And Starsky was well known in the episodes of wearing big, fluffy cardigans. So thanks for that, Alex, for getting in the mood for this cast.
I'm
I
always
enjoyed
in the mood
it.
for these casts.
Yeah, so am I. Well, that's why I'm an alcoholic now. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, this episode wasn't picked in the poll. It was just Starsky and Hutch, and I thought, well, we'll just go episode 1, go from there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It just brought good memories of me, you know, being a little kid watching this on a Saturday night. Yeah, and like you say, it was fun. It was fun to watch David Salt and Paul Michael Glaser in those roles because they are Starsky and Hutch. Over to you.
Okay, according to Amazon, which has it on Prime as well, it started in 75 because it was the 70s. It ended in 79. It was 92 episodes. It was the same team as Charlie's Angels. And they had Farrah Fawcett, not in this episode, and they had Suzanne Summers, she was in this episode.
She was in this.
And it was also the decade of Three's Company. They this was also the era of the beginning of the blonde supermodel, I think. And the you know, because the Farrah Fawcett poster was incredibly popular. It made millions of dollars. And she was actually good in this as well. She's never given enough credit. Not that she's the Sheriff helped in the 80s, because it didn't. But I think she should have been given more credit.
Alex? Yeah, am I allowed my say now, Alex? Is that okay with you? All right, I just want to make sure. I don't want to interrupt you. Don't interrupt you. I wouldn't want to do that. Let's be honest. As the youngest member of this group here, I mean, there are some people here this evening who are twice my age, and some, like the man up north, who's considerably more than twice my age. The one with the cat. Just to be clear. And it might just be me, but I thought this was dull as dishwater. I thought it was boring. I did not get into it all. I mean, I'm not keen on American cop shows anyway. I mean, you've got Chips and you've got, what are the other ones? There's another one, isn't there? That's boring.
Alex has mentioned a few tonight. He said Beretta. He said...
Yeah, them ones, yeah.
He said... yeah. Well,
a lot of ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also mentioned, too, that the Torino, which was in Starsky and Hutch, was actually on screen for 10 seconds in The Dukes of Hazzard, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels, he mentioned. There's a bunch of cop shows.
Yeah, but this, I just didn't like it. I just thought, it just did not engage me at all. Not one iota. I don't really have much to say on it, bar that. It was boring. And that maybe it's because I wasn't brought up in the 70s like a few of you were here. And this brings back nostalgia, etc. But no, it just didn't do it for me.
Another cop show that which was big at the time was the Sweeney.
Was that American, was it?
No, British.
And the streets of San Francisco.
Well, that's American. Yeah. With Michael Douglas.
And the Bill.
Yeah, before.
Yeah, the Sweeney. Ali, there was John Thor and Dennis Waterman.
Ah. Right, so we might as well go on to final say and score. No, favourite moments. Let's go to Stephen Price.
Just because you don't have favorite moments, let's continue with format, please.
Final say and score.
Favourite moments where Hutch is buying a meal, Captain Dobie calls him over his thing in the car. I was going to say mobile, but they weren't out at the time. And he just puts Starsky's meal in the bin. Well, why didn't he just put it in the car and just put it in the back seat instead of putting it, paid for it and putting it in the bin?
That's what it said on the script.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode. Well, the wrong one I watched before.
Oh dear, Stephen, what are we going to do?
There's another thing I'd just like to say. I was a proud owner of David Soul's Signal. Don't Give Up on Us, Baby. I think Lee would remember that song. Who's there?
He's here. He's just playing with his pussy.
Yes, this TV show. This TV show launched. Yeah, it launched David Soul's pop
he's
career.
Just cradling
You're
his,
not listening, are you, Alan?
he's just cradling his mother's pussy.
So, he had. I think he had about 3 number ones in the UK, didn't he, Stephen?
Don't Give Up on Us, Baby. I like Silver Lady.
Silver Lady, yeah.
I don't know what the other one. I didn't like them too.
Yeah, but he had a run of hits in the 70s, all because of the what the show brought, the fame for him. So
what's he doing now? Then is he retired or what?
He's mainly wheelchair bound.
What?
Yeah,
I
think it was last year. Him and Paul Michael Glaser was in the UK doing conventions. You know, the Comic Con.
Oh,
thing.
everybody does it.
And there was pictures of David Soul in a wheelchair and Paul Michael Glaser pushing him around the UK. But that just shows you. I mean, this what comes across on the screen is their friendship in Starsky Hutch, which gets more and more better.
Is that the Aggie Bear
go along? But they're friends all these years.
Yeah. Is that Aggie Bear still alive?
Yeah, he's still. Yeah. I mean, he was in I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in I'm a Celebrity a few years ago.
I don't watch that.
Does Stephen look like the person who watches I'm a Celebrity?
No, I don't watch reality. I'm sorry.
No, well, I don't watch it, but I know he was in it. But but he is only known for Huggy Bear, but that's an iconic character, and he'll always be known for that.
I think it was
over to you, Stephen.
I think it was before Starsky Hutch was made. He was in. He played a bad cop in Magnum Force, that Eastwood film.
Correct. It was Magnum Force.
Yeah. He played the bad cop.
A biker. Yeah. A biker cop.
It's a point to Stephen.
There we go.
Is that all your favourite moments, Stephen? Just the sandwiches going in the bin?
Yeah, it is other favourite romance, but I can't bloody remember. Because
You enjoyed it, but you can't remember it.
after that, I fell asleep, and then I watched the Last Action Hero. Then
Wait, so you fell asleep and watched The Last Action Hero?
no, I fell asleep after I had an hour's sleep after starting it, and then I watched the Last Action Hero awake.
Oh, you did watch. Oh, right. Okay, we'll just clear that up. You did watch it awake.
Yeah, he didn't do.
I'm glad you didn't do Brian. That'd be all types of wrong. Let's go to Susan and Alex. And Alex is just monitoring your comments.
No.
How many comments have we got, Alex?
No. Go ahead, sis.
Okay, I guess my favorite moments were where the old lady and the old guy are trying to convince the mayor that the food is rubbish, and and you know they have him hostage in the old folks home. That was fun, and I liked the ticking bomb sort of thing in the back of the car. That idea and that execution was good.
Like Speed. 20 years before Speed.
Yeah, it was fun. And here's Alex. He'll see. He's got lots of.
Yeah, I mean,
before you say anything, Alex, Speed the movie, I hated that. That was a right B movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
That's why Alex likes it then.
Yeah, but that's also, well, I mean, who doesn't like Dennis Hopper? But here's the thing. It's the same idea. It's the same idea in this episode as it is in Speed, you know? But that's the funny thing, too. Now, of course, Spelling and Goldberg did produce Charlie's Angels, and that was criticized a lot. So was this series. And they also criticized that there was too much violence, which I really don't think was fair.
Spelling and Goldberg?
Yeah, it was. So in the last 2 seasons, Glazer, the actor, was getting very upset and wanted more money, and they were actually thinking of writing him out of the show, having him die. But because they were worried about syndication, they didn't do that. They sort of had him die, but then he pulled through again, just like Bionic Woman and other similar TV shows. So it's funny. I also noticed that they were very respectful of the elderly couple. They were very, very respectful and very, very calm. And I thought that was interesting for the 70s.
76 or airport.
Well, almost. No, not airplane exactly,
I mean,
but airport. Yeah. No. There were touches in both Charlie's Angels and in Starsky and Hutch that if you're really watching and you don't necessarily believe the stereotypes, there were actually moments that were very brilliant, actually, and very respectful. So even for the 70s, of all the stereotypes of jive talking and disco shoes and terrible colors and and platforms and bell-bottom jeans and all that, there was a lot of good movies and a lot of interesting TV shows, if you really thought about it, that were starting to talk about, drugs and alcoholism and other things that they really didn't discuss on the whole in the 60s. That was still a little bit underground. Or maybe it wasn't considered a vice, I'm not sure. Because I wasn't around in the 60s. But yeah, there were some things that they were actually trying to do. They did have Farrah Fawcett on the show at least twice, if not more. And they had a lot of famous people that were famous or are still around today. And Suzanne Summers is still around. So, you could always see her on infomercials, sadly. But it was like I said, there was a lot of parts in the TV show that I actually, when I rewatched it, I said, wow, this is not what I remember a lot of people criticizing it for. They were too harsh on it. But of course, that's the other thing. A lot of these shows were made where they didn't think they were going to be on video or on the internet because that wasn't the time back then.
And another one of my favorite moments was when the tires get slashed and they drive it down the alley and around the corner, and the the whole tire rips off the thing, and you know, they don't even need to take the wheel off. That the tire just pulls off. I mean, you never see that in real life. That's pretty cool.
Would you like to tell us more about your police incident, Susan?
Some other time, maybe. Thank you for asking.
You know, we can talk about it here. We're amongst friends, you know. No one's going to watch this.
O'Brien.
Apart from Cher, who watches all of our casts, I've been told. Cher watches all of our casts. Hi, Cher. And we're actually reviewing a Cher film soon called Mask. So if she wants to join, she can. I'm sure she will. Let's go to Lee with his pen. Oh, he's got a yellow pen this time.
This just makes me think.
What makes you think?
Well,
Oh, it's Mickey Mouse. Oh, he's got a Mickey Mouse pen.
It makes me wonder why. Yeah, it's a pen. It makes me think why I never kept my toy car or my Starsky Hutch annuals.
Probably worth a lot now.
But you know, couldn't win. I know, yeah. But going back to the episode, I mean, it was a standard thing in the 70s. Police dramas was the car chases. Starsky Hutch did them really well. Also, what made me laugh is with the gun fights. They just like that. They don't even aim or anything. They just shoot around the corner. You know, pop a bullet off there, and they get the man in the end. We've had the typical 70s writing, but and also you had to smash through something while in a car chase. This one, it was the car booth attendant, you know, in the car park. But as soon as you smashed through it, you could see it was just bolster wood. There was nothing in there. So what happened to his seat? I don't know. This drama. Yeah, it's just good. But for me, it starts friendship, where they get to know each other. It's you know, it's just brilliant friendship they have all the way through the seasons. You know, there's comedy, there's drama. It's just brilliant. Over to you.
Well, we caught some of that anyway. I don't know about anybody else. That was very glitchy. We missed every other word, but I'm sure it was rivetingly. Yeah. Let's go to final say and score. Hey? Let's go to final say and score. Let's go to Stephen Price, since we've been going in that order.
I enjoyed the series when it was out, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Because
you'll give this episode 9 out of 10.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And a friend of mine's got a DVD collection, which is pretty cheap now. It's about £20. So I'm thinking of getting that.
Well, they're all on Daily Motion.
Yeah.
Well, the episode 1 is, I know that.
Yeah.
Let's watch them on there.
Yeah.
And I bet Lee's got all the box set. Let's go to Susan and Alex for final say and score.
All right. I enjoyed it. It was a good flashback, so to speak. And I will give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Are you a speed demon, Susan?
And here's Alex.
Wait there, Susan. I didn't know you could drive. Wait there.
And moving on.
Susan, can you even drive, or did you just hot wire the car?
But we'll leave that to your futile anyway.
Wait, she can't drive.
Imagination. No. Yeah, I'd give this episode a 7.5. I wouldn't say it was a great episode, but like I said, there was little flashes. It's not as good as Kojak. It's not as good as the Streets of San Francisco. But
And you love Beretta.
and I love Beretta. Yeah, but Beretta was corny in another way. It is interesting that it was all on the same network, ABC. It's interesting that it was all sort of, I mean, even the producers admitted that they rehashed things and all that. But at least, as opposed to the reboots of today, at least it was trying to be done intelligently and different. The series, I actually have to say that it was a lot better. I rewatched it about 5 years ago, and it was a lot better than I thought. Is it really high drama? No, but it's network TV. It's not supposed to be. And there were other shows. I mean, don't forget this was also the era of Barney Miller, and that was a comedy and serious at the same time. But they had a lot smaller budget, so they couldn't do car chases and things like that.
They couldn't even leave the station.
Yeah, they barely left the station, true. But again, you know, in some ways it was interesting to watch it because now it's very serious, and a lot of cop shows now are very serious, and they're trying to show almost everything, and you kind of worry that they'd give people more ideas rather than less, and they're also more gruesome. Not that the 70s didn't have it, but I think there was more censorship going on, so I think there was a lot of things that they couldn't do, so they had to come up with better writing and better characters. And like I said, I do love cop shows, so I guess I'm guilty of that as well. Some things I've actually gotten tired of watching because to me it's very repetitive. Is Starsky and Hutch corny? Yes, in many places it is. But considering all the competition that was around, and considering that almost every network had like 15 cop shows at least, this was interesting and it stood the test of time. And remember, these were the producers of Charlie's Angels as well, which was also on the same network. So considering all that, they could have done a lot worse job. They could have done totally paint by the numbers, totally stereotypical, you know, characters. They could have done just phoned it in, as they say, and they didn't. They actually had episodes that were extremely intelligent. So I have to give it credit. I also like the fact that they didn't have, you know, super technology as well. So it was quote unquote gritty, as they used to say, that they didn't have tons of outs. They didn't have tons of technology to help them. Yeah, this wasn't, well, no, they had a little bit of it, but it was the old-fashioned kind. They didn't have 10,000 computers and 10,000 cell phones and all this. So it gives the impression of being gritty, and because they didn't have CGI, you actually had to concentrate more on the actors. And considering they didn't do too bad a job. And remember that David Soul was trying to be a singer just like John Travolta. And again, on the same network, ABC. So remember, too, that this was the days of, you know, Soul Train and American Bandstand and Midnight Special. And Wolfman Jack was on TV a lot. And he was in Adam 12 and Emergency as well as himself. And so was Sammy Davis Jr. as well. So, you know, considering all that cheese, they actually did pretty good.
I absolutely promise you I listened to every word of that, Alex. But I'm glad you've stopped because I've got to do breakfast in a minute. Let's go to Lee. Did you give it, honestly, Alex, did you give us a score? Oh, yeah, you gave it 7.5, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, which in other words is a 2 out of 10 from you. It is. Let's go to Lee for final say and score.
Enjoyed it. It brought back good memories of this show. There are better episodes, but hey ho. But it's going to get 8 Huggy Bears out of 10.
Now, my score depends on if Susan's going to tell us the story or not.
Alex. That's how you do it.
So, Susan, are you going to share the story with us?
I will save that for another time when we are not recording.
No, you know you won't. So, are you worried just in case who's watching this?
Fifth Amendment. Guys.
Are you guys? You guys don't want to like honor that boundary? Please, just like we're dropping it for now.
Right to silence, guys. Right to silence.
All right, you want us to be silent, yeah, Alex? All right, we'll be silent for the next 6 hours. Anyway, as Susan's withholding we'll have to wait for her story. I'm withholding my score. So on that note, tell us below what you made of this series, this cop show, if you liked it or not. And look after yourself. Take care, and we will see you next time.